did in fact defeat the Earth Elemental, but as a result, we got hit by a piece of flying debris. We're actually going to be unconscious in a field hospital for a couple of days. It goes into this cutscene.
You were injured when the elemental exploded. Captain Thackeray brought you here personally. You've been unconscious for 3 days. You had lots of visitors. Villagers you rescued, some seraph.
So this is an example of, based on the choices you made during your biography, different people would have come and visited you, and she'd be pointing you to go follow up with the different groups that actually came by and talked to you.
What should I do now? Fresh air and exercise are the best medicine. The goddess Dwayna helped you. Perhaps you could help others? Thanks, I will. And thanks for taking such good care of me. Not at all. Shaymore is in your debt. May Dwayna protect you in your travels.
So you see, we've gone ahead and got a reward, and then when we accept, we level up. So Matthew's going ahead and assigning some of the points into his abilities, and now we're looking at what we're calling my story. This is really your story journal. It keeps a log of all the decisions and choices that you've made through your story so far, and also, you know, where you should be heading next. So I've been talking about our dynamic event system, and one of the things about dynamic events is, by their very nature, yes, they are dynamic. You don't know when exactly they're going to be occurring. They're not static, and so it's very important that we get people out in exploring the world so that they can experience these dynamic events ad hoc, you know, as quickly as possible. So to do that, we've introduced the scout system. Now there are some people who play MMOs where they just want to go out and explore and have with no guidance whatsoever. There are others who prefer pointers to where they think, you know, interesting content will be, and that's the point behind the scout system. Is we put these markers on your world map, gently point you in the right direction, so you'll see some, you know, interesting dynamic event content. So go ahead, let's go ahead and just head down. You notice earlier during the cinematics I talked about our hand-painted illustrated quality. You can definitely see it in some of the objects that we have throughout the game world. We try to keep that feel very much consistent across everything. So Matthew, do we know which events are headed?
We're heading in the direction of what I hope will be an event.
I think I see some fire. The cool thing about most dynamic events is it's very obvious visually. If there's like a lot of fire, a lot of smoke going around, there's probably something there that you should check out.
Grab the bucket and stand by.
Okay. So in this particular, bandits have been setting the wheat bales on fire. One of the things that Matthew will be able to do is, first of all, defeat the bandits. Do we have any water buckets flying around?
Yeah, I can go grab one.
Let's go. Okay, the other way we can participate in this event is he just picked up a water bucket. This is what we call an environmental weapon. It went ahead and changed his skill bar to a bucket that he can then use to put out fires.
Looks like there aren't any fires, but I can probably still use that water bucket anyway.
Drinks milk, thanks.
Okay. So he's gone ahead and used the bucket to pick up more water and water the crops. But you can imagine with this particular type of mechanic, there are any number of things that you could be picking up. You know, planks to help repair a fence or use as a weapon. Do you want to see if the brood mother's up? She's always a fun one. But sorry? Oh.
I see some people fighting.
Yeah, so chance, again, it's lots of visual cues. encouraging people to stay in the world, not looking at their skill bars necessarily or something else. If you're paying attention to this world, you'll see stuff where it's very obvious, hey, I want to get involved in that. It looks like fun. Now, as I mentioned, dynamic events have the ability to scale up depending on the number of people who, whoa, tail swipe. Number of people who get involved. Now, that tail swipe you saw there is an example that when there are only a couple of people involved in the event, Broodmother doesn't have that skill. But as the event scales up, she will acquire a skill to make it more fun and interesting. One of the things about our combat, as I mentioned, is we want to keep it pretty action-oriented. Oh, so what Matthew just did is he demonstrated that in our game, there is no dedicated healing or resurrection class. Every profession, every player can revive a person on the battlefield. What this does is, one, it keeps the combat very fast-paced, and secondly, it really does create that social cooperation that everybody can help everybody else. And we found that people love, it's not just for healers anymore. Everyone loves to come in and help revive somebody. So did we defeat her? Yep. And as you see in the upper right, we get notifications that the event succeeded and the rewards that we acquired. Okay. All right. I feel pretty good. We've done a couple of dynamic events. Let's head over to Divinity's Reach. So we're going to continue our personal story, which has instructed us to head over to Divinity's Reach. Divinity's Reach is the last great human city of humanity, and as such, we've made it, appropriately grand and epic. Divinity's Reach is really a great opportunity for us to demonstrate our new engine technology. Our new engine technology allows us to do very large-scale, sophisticated environments. We can do all sorts of complex lighting and shading and textures. We can even, as I mentioned, do things like custom weather, depending on the appropriateness. Do you want to see if we can hear some of the ambient dialogue? Here, I'll pump the volume up for that.
Well, sounds like the episode.
Hilarious. They're pretty quiet tonight.
So it was very important for us, as you come into one of these cities, to make them feel alive, make them feel bustling. We recently announced that we've been doing a lot of voice work for Guild Wars 2, and we announced that we basically are going to be putting 60 feature films worth of voice acting into our game. This is just one of the ways that we would be doing it. Is ambient dialogue that you hear around the world that makes you feel the world's alive, and also you'll be learning very subtly what's going on in the world if you're listening to what people are talking about. What Matthew has taken us to here is it's our shooting gallery. It's just an example of a kind of mini game. We're going to be placing mini games in each of the cities so that players, when they're enjoying a little downtime between combat and adventuring, can have other activities that they can get rewarded in. And I mean, listening to the dialogue, again, you won't have to read about stuff, but you will learn things about the different races. You'll learn things about how humans think of the Norn or the Azura. And that's cool. I think it's much more entertaining to hear it, especially with a little attitude, than to read it. Now, I mentioned that we have the new engine technology for Guild Wars 2, and I also mentioned that we have a phenomenal concept art team. What I'm about to show you is an example where you put an incredibly talented, imaginative art team with an incredibly sophisticated engine team, and you can deliver incredible vistas like this one, an interior environment. This is the Palace Gardens. We're very proud of them. They look stunning in day or night. But the other challenge of our engine is, if you're familiar with Guild Wars, we wanted to make sure that the game played on a very wide variety of 3D gaming PCs. We're not going to be pushing the highest edge of the tech envelope. And so to be able to deliver amazing visuals and still have it run on a broad base of 3D game PCs has been a great challenge for our engine team, and they've definitely delivered.
need me to defend.
Yeah, we really don't like those centaurs. All right, let's go ahead and head over to the home instance.